Trump has already won. We're just down to the wire with the last few skirmishes being played out between the Trump administration and the deep state. But you would never know it because the mainstream media doesn't want you to know. And the alternative media is too wrapped up in infighting, engaging in cancel culture, etc. Many people are like, when are people finally going to be held accountable? It's actually happening right now, right in front of us. I was able to confirm what sources had alleged, namely that there really wasn't a whistleblower who had kicked off this impeachment inquiry and that the Intel Committee chairman, Adam Schiff, was actually getting information from a wiretap. The alleged whistleblower and testifying witnesses with secondhand information were used to give witness testimonial credibility to ill-gotten information. This was verified by Schiff revealing telephone call information he had obtained on the president, his personal attorney Giuliani, the Intel Committee Minority Chairman Devin Nunes, investigative journalists like John Solomon reporting on the Ukraine, and others. The call information provided by Schiff in the impeachment inquiry more than suggested the what, where, and how Schiff had obtained the phone call records. Later that day, after I published my report, Laura Ingraham had Sarah Carter on her show to discuss the developments regarding Adam Schiff's spying on the president. This is what they had to say.
A knowledgeable source tells the Ingraham angle tonight that not only did Schiff get dirt from the secret subpoenas that he sent to phone companies, he also got help from the NSA.
So what we knew before, 3 years ago, when we discussed the expansion of the NSA under the Obama administration and how they allowed for basically spying on attorneys, spying on clergy. I mean, this is incredible. Spying on what we consider privileged journalists. Now what we're seeing is that Adam Schiff has taken this to the next level. And what he did was then expanded that, put it out into the report, and then used all the secondary contacts that he wanted exposed in the report.
He got help from AT&T, and he got help from someone else in the government. Our sources are saying it's the NSA.
Absolutely. That is exactly what I've been hearing, too, from my sources.
It shouldn't be a surprise that when the president tweeted, "Where is the whistleblower?" I quickly responded that according to my sources, the whistleblower may actually be a wiretap. The president tweeted 2 days later with, "There is no whistleblower." If my source can be publicly writing and tweeting about it for the last 2 years now, obviously the president knows about it.
Judge Collyer, Judge Rosemary Collyer, was the judge, the FISA judge, that signed off on the first FISA warrant. Why is she still sitting on a bench? She says the full scope of non-compliant querying practices had not previously been disclosed to the court. There was a preliminary discussion to see why they didn't dump the data for 72 hours. So here's where the cover-up begins.
So at that point, it was time to confirm other information reported by our source. Since we are assuming there's no whistleblower and that there was continued electronic surveillance of the president and the people around him, how is this possible? The NSA 702 upstream
mission of the intelligence community has morphed, giving them more data collecting authority, all with the blessing of this court.
There's a dragnet of surveillance now in place,
where everyone's electronic communications are stored for 72 hours. Everyone's and everything.
All the devices in your home that could potentially spy on you. These devices include Amazon's Echo, Google Home, networked video games, smart TVs, Facebook Live, laptop Skype cameras, home security cameras, baby monitors, and internet-connected appliances like Samsung's new Family Hub refrigerator that has web-connected cameras inside.
Anyone accessing this database has to log in and log out, which would be noticeable by anyone with oversight, leaving only one possibility: the Inspector General of the NSA.
Hello. I'm Rob Storch, and I'm honored to serve as the Inspector General at the National Security Agency.
Who just happens to be the person who allegedly received the whistleblower complaint that kicked off the impeachment inquiry.
Another thing we do that's really critical is we keep not only the head of the agency, but also the Congress as the people's representatives timely informed regarding what we're finding in the agencies. And that's really critical for Congress to enable it to carry out its constitutional oversight and legislative functions.
But to understand how the IG of the NSA is implicated in providing intelligence to Schiff absent any whistleblower, we must first understand how the FISA Court was allowing illicitly obtained NSA 702 upstream over collection in the first place. As soon as we began diving into the presiding judge of the FISA Court, Judge Rosemary Collyer, who was instrumental in facilitating extensive overcollection from the NSA 702 upstream, our computers and phones were hacked, installed with malware, and blocked via proxy servers from gaining access to the internet, specifically our source material for this report, while our phones began taking on a life of their own. You only get flack when you're over the target. By the time we got our computers cleaned up and our phones acting relatively normal again, Inspector Horowitz had testified in the Senate. We are here at the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing where Michael Horowitz has been testifying. And they've just been spying on the president, lying right before the Senate. I mean, I didn't have much anticipations or expectations for Horowitz, given that he's an Obama holdover. The presiding judge of the FISA Court had issued a condemning letter about the FBI's misuse of the FISA Court. But I knew better. This was the beginning of a cover-up. But to understand the cover-up, we have to travel back in time where the chapter of this story began.
The main reason they were going for the FISA warrant initially was to go back historically and seize all his emails and texts and all that stuff from back months and even years. So they were covering the period that he was in the campaign, and that's exactly the reason they went for the FISA, to get that stuff.
The answer to the question about whether that was just some misguided effort or a plot is how did it all start? And that's why you see John Durham looking back at the efforts and the actions of people like Jim Comey and John Brennan to look and see, did this start before the official Crossfire hurricane date of July 31st? I've seen classified documents that indicates that it did.
In 2016, I had directed our Office of Compliance, let's do a fundamental baseline review of compliance associated with 702.
September 26, 2016, Collyer realizes that since late 2014 through early 2015, there was overcollection of data. John Carlin, former head of the National Security Division, submits his certification, Section 702, and then resigns.
We were doing queries unknowingly to the operator in a handful of situations against U.S. persons, and I just said, hey, that is not in accordance with the intent of the law.
Obama knows that within 30 days, if the NSA can't fix the overcollection problem by either dumping data or justifying it, the FISA Court will order the IG of the NSA to investigate. So what does Obama do? He makes the IG of the NSA a presidential appointment rather than an appointment by the director of the NSA. New rules to the game.
And as the first presidentially appointed Senate-confirmed IG here at the NSA, I am committed to transparency in the work of our office.
In October, right before the FISA warrant for Carter Page is signed, the NSA asks FISA for an extension until December 2016, citing errors and a matter of national security.
At the end of October, I think it was something like the 26th of October, and we informed the court, we have a compliance issue here, and we're concerned that there's an underlying issue with the technical solution we've put in place. We told the court we were going to need some period of time to work our way through that. The court granted us that time. In return, The court also said, we will allow you to continue 702 under the 16 authorizations, but we will not reauthorize 17 until you show us that you have addressed this.
November 30th, 2016, Obama nominates Robert Storch, who was working as Deputy IG of the DOJ under Horowitz at the time.
I'm Rob Storch, Deputy Inspector General for the U.S. Department of Justice.
During the transition period from the Obama administration into the Trump administration. In April 2017, Storch, as Deputy IG of DOJ, is offered a job by Ukraine to uncover corruption. Trump's people at the time, you know, all those swamp creatures he fired, had Trump nominate Storch as IG of the NSA, to which he was quickly confirmed. What they did essentially was create a way through now presidential appointed IG of the NSA office to hide their continued spying of President Trump.
All right, let's go. Molly. It's the same at work. At NSA, it's up to you to report what you reasonably believe to be evidence of wrongdoing, using authorized channels, which include the Office of the NSA Inspector General.
Are you starting to see the trap that was set up for the president? It was only after Horowitz's report came out that Judge Collyer rebuked the FBI in a total CYA move. However, this entire charade is a smokescreen to draw attention away from the fact that the relevant spying on the Trump campaign and now administration was occurring through over-collection, not the bogus Steele Dossier. The Steele Dossier is a cover story to hide the over-collection problem that is scheduled to go on until March of 2020. How the heck is Trump and his team supposed to go after the deep state while they're spying on him? Because the 702 upstream data collection system has gone rogue.
Why do we have global private security firms that are operating in Beijing and Washington and Baghdad at the same time? And this is an entirely taxpayer-fueled entity.
And everyone's entire collection of electronic communications are now accessible by an international intelligence consortium created by the retired spy chiefs globally. Yes, you, Global Strategies Group, but we will come back to you soon enough.
A lot of this is done in a very hidden way. It's a very murky world. We had to sift through a lot of corporate records to find this corporate structure, to figure out that Global Strategies Group, for example, is registered in Luxembourg, not in England. There are subsidiaries of subsidiaries. Some of these companies are spun out, go public, go private again. It's kind of hard to keep track of them, and therefore they're easily lost in the shuffle. That might be an advantage, right, if you're in the intelligence game.
What I'm demonstrating is not only is there a rogue source of intelligence, but there is another source of intelligence, something further in the background than the NSA, than the GSG, that hasn't been made public yet, that I can neither confirm or deny, that my source and the president may be working through to take down the deep state. Remember when President Eisenhower warned about the military-industrial complex?
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists. We must also be alert to the equal and opposite danger that public policy could itself become the captive of a scientific, technological elite.
You don't think he may have set up something else in secret to monitor them, do you?
On August 31st, 1960, Secretary of the Air Force Dudley Sharp, on orders from President Eisenhower, established the Office of Missile and Satellite Systems to direct the Air Force Satellite Reconnaissance Program. Officially established the management arrangements for the National Reconnaissance Program, which consolidated space and aerial reconnaissance projects under a covert National Reconnaissance Office. They are silent sentinels. They look and listen from the cold reaches of space. They capture signals and images critical to America's intelligence community, and much more. They are the satellites of the National Reconnaissance Office, America's eyes and ears in space.
which is why President Bill Clinton had them declassified in 1999. But what the deep state didn't know then, but has probably figured out now, that declassification didn't capture all of it. Why do you think Space Force has emerged in the middle of all of this? Are you ready for some of the biggest information drops? Are you ready for President Trump's Christmas present and New Year's resolution? Stay tuned, there is more to come.
When it comes to rebuilding your energy, convenience is key. While coffee, candy, and other sugary products can give you a short boost, the crash can leave you more tired than ever. Turbo Force from InfoWars Life is a powerful mix-in energy packet that utilizes vitamins, amino acids, and extracts used for hundreds of years to provide you focus, clarity, and a boost of energy on the go. Simply take a packet, mix it into the indicated amount of water, and enjoy. With 14 servings per box for a 2-week or more supply, this is the formula to stock up on whenever you need a boost. Perfect for work, in the car, or at home. Turbo Force is the ultimate answer to a sluggish day. Don't let your day slow you down. Perk up with Turbo Force at InfoWarsStore.com.